Today I want to talk about toxic monogamy. I can see the comments now. Oh, so you can't even be monogamous anymore without being called toxic. Wow. Let me set the record straight right away. No, I am not saying all monogamy is toxic. I am saying that there are certain toxic behaviors that are very common in monogamous culture. And yes, some of these behaviors can happen outside of monogamy, but it's far less common. Instead of spending a bunch of time trying to hammer down a definition of toxic monogamy, I think it's more useful to list specific traits. So let's get into it. Toxic monogamy trait number 1, taking pride in jealousy and insecurity. Have you ever heard someone say something like, "If anyone even looks at my partner, we're gonna have a problem," as if that's an admirable thing? Yeah. It's framed as if the speaker is being noble and protective of their partner, but in reality it's very controlling and reveals a lot about how they feel about their relationship. Why such an aggressive reaction? What do they expect to happen? Do they expect the slightest bit of human interaction to cause their partner to leave them for the love of a stranger? Or maybe they think the most mundane of actions will cause their partner to cheat on them. Either way, it gives the strong impression that the person does not view their relationship as very secure. Working through feelings of insecurity is hard. Unfortunately, a lot of people choose the much easier path of glorifying that insecurity. Regardless of your relationship structure, it is perfectly okay for your partner to interact with other people. To be frank, this should go without saying, but a shocking number of people apparently haven't gotten the memo. Toxic monogamy trait number 2, controlling your partner's friends. I understand that certain people in a partner's past can cause a lot of discomfort. It's very reasonable to want your partner to distance themselves from people who have previously been abusive, manipulative, or otherwise shady. But it is painfully common for people to give up all of their opposite sex or gender friends as a rule for their relationship. Let's get the obvious out of the way and acknowledge the blatant homophobia here. Opposite sex or gender friends are always the one to go because they are the ones viewed as the threats to the relationship. My girlfriend would never leave me for a woman. That's not how bisexuality works, Todd. It's also super transphobic because genderqueer folks are often viewed as the threatening sex or gender regardless of how they identify. Homophobia and transphobia aside, if a person thinks that their partner having friends that they could potentially be attracted to is going to cause them to cheat, that person deeply distrusts their partner. Friends are so important, and nobody should be expected to sacrifice their friends for an intimate relationship. Toxic monogamy trait number 3, ownership of partners. Say it with me, everyone. We do not own our partners. I have grown to detest the word let when it comes to relationships. I won't let my partner wear this. I won't let my partner do that. Look, I get that there are reasonable relationship boundaries that might prevent you from doing certain things. It's not like you can do literally anything you want and just tell your partner to suck it up if they don't like it. However, rules and boundaries in a relationship should always be agreed to under everyone's free will. If there's some kind of relationship boundary that prevents us from doing something, it should be because we agreed to that boundary, not because something was imposed upon us without our consent. If you find yourself frequently saying things like, "My partner won't let me do this or that," you may want to think about the level of control your partner has over you and whether or not you're comfortable with it. Toxic monogamy trait number 4, making your partner your everything. It's you and I against the world, baby. We don't need anybody else. I know things like this are usually said with the intent of being romantic, but what a ridiculous thing to say. First of all, the entire world is not out to get you. You're not against everyone but your partner. Second, we all need other people. We need family and friends. We need community. We need people to interact with other than our partner. All too often, we expect our partners to be an entire support system, a lover, a caretaker, a therapist, and so much more. That kind of codependency can put too many responsibilities on our partners, and they may just not be qualified to be all the things we expect them to be. Yes, your partner should bring a lot of joy to your life, but they shouldn't be your entire life. You are your own person. If you're enjoying the video so far, you can really help me out with the YouTube algorithm with an easy click of that like button. Thanks a bunch. Toxic monogamy trait number 5, denial of attraction to others. There is one specific social media post that I have seen countless times that irritates me to no end. A psychology professor said, "If you're in love with someone, you won't be interested in someone else. If you are, then you aren't in love." I think people need to hear this. Gee, thanks, a psychology professor. But that is not how attraction works. I will admit that this used to be me. I would proudly say that when I'm in a relationship, my attraction to others just goes away. And I truly believe that, despite clearly feeling physical attraction to others all the time. It's wild how you can convince yourself to deny obvious reality. It is okay to feel attraction to people other than your partner. We are human beings, and we can't just flip a switch and turn off our attraction. Being attracted to someone isn't cheating. Acting on that attraction in a way that violates your relationship boundaries is cheating. Your monogamous partner being physically attracted to others isn't that important. What's important is the action they take. The action of making the intentional choice to stay in the relationship and respect its boundaries. Toxic monogamy trait number 6. Love conquers all. This one's pretty innocent most of the time, but when taken too far, it's not great. It is a good thing to be committed to a relationship to a level where you're willing to work through difficult times and make compromises. I'm not saying you should just give up immediately when relationship issues present themselves. What I am saying is that love alone cannot overcome irreconcilable differences, and if you continue a relationship with that mindset, it can cause a lot of friction and resentment. For example, if one person in a monogamous relationship is certain that they want children and the other doesn't at all, no amount of love will overcome this huge difference and keep both people happy. All too often, people get into monogamous relationships knowing full well that there are significant and impactful differences between them and their partner. But they think, oh, we love each other so much, they'll change their mind. Or worse, I can fix them. Ugh, yikes. Partners are not the same person. There are always differences, and they can be beautiful. But love is not a brute force solution to important practical differences in wants and needs. Toxic monogamy trait number 7. Bashing non-monogamy for no reason. This one wasn't originally going to be a part of this list, but as I was writing the script, a very conveniently timed article about open relationships came across my newsfeed. The comments were an absolute dumpster fire. So many monogamous people talking so much trash on something they clearly didn't understand. If your partner wants an open relationship, just break up. Whatever happened to loyalty? These people are just sad. Like, just why? What's the point? People exploring non-monogamy have no effect on these commenters. People are just doing what makes them happy. Why go out of your way to spread such pointless negativity? Don't get me wrong, toxic polyamory is absolutely a thing and should be talked about, maybe in a future video. But almost no monogamist who leaves negative comments on non-monogamy content is trying to start that conversation. They're just taking cheap shots, and it's pathetic. Monogamous and non-monogamous alike, can we just agree to not be hateful toward each other for our choice in relationship structures? Yeah? Cool? Great. Toxic monogamy trait number 8. Treating love as a zero-sum game. A zero-sum game is a scenario in which someone gaining something inherently means that someone else loses an equivalent of that same thing. That's just not how feelings work. Sure, time and attention are limited resources, but love is not. Having feelings towards others, romantic or otherwise, does not take those feelings away from someone else. A question I get all the time as a polyamorous person is, what if your partner finds someone that they love more than you? It's not a bad question, but I do think it's kind of off. Love isn't a currency. It's not something you can physically measure. My partners don't have to take love away from me to give it to someone else. When you think of love as a zero-sum game, it can make you very protective and often controlling of your partner's feelings towards others. Sometimes people take it way too far and get jealous of how much partners love their own family. Love is not a zero-sum game, and nobody should have to compete for it. Toxic monogamy trait number 9. Extreme and absurd proclamations of love. Remember that super popular Bruno Mars song, Grenade? Here's a refresher of the chorus. I'd catch a grenade for ya, throw my hand on the blade for ya. I'd jump in front of a train for ya. You know I'd do anything for ya. I would go through all this pain, take a bullet straight through my brain. Yes, I would die for you, baby, but you won't do the same. I get it. You love your partner so much that you'll do anything for him. That's good. But in my opinion, making extravagant promises that you know you'll never have to actually fulfill is ultimately meaningless. It's far more important to pledge practical things, but that's also more difficult because it's something you actually have to do. Sadly, it's fairly common for people to promise outlandish things as a substitute for doing the real work involved in a relationship. You're willing to literally die for me but not provide basic emotional support? Sounds sketchy to me. And worse, as the song says, people make very real relationship decisions based on whether or not their partner reciprocates these absurd promises. Expecting your partner to cause massive harm to themselves for you is multiple layers of problematic. This list may make you think, geez, does this guy just hate expressions of love? Not at all. I love love. I just think we can do a whole lot better with how we express it. We can love people without isolating them from others, completely controlling their lives, or putting way too much responsibility on their shoulders. And again, the point of discussing toxic monogamy is not to just bash monogamy as a whole. Monogamists are hurt more by toxic monogamy than anyone else. The point of this conversation is to figure out how we can make relationship culture better regardless of the relationship structure. If you enjoyed this video, there is a whole lot more to come, so if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to get notified. And I make a whole lot of fun polyamory merch, like this I'm only polyamorous for the leftovers hoodie. You can check out all of my polyamory designs at the shop link in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, peace.